So following on from actually flying Henry free, again, make your mind up how you want to do it. Don't worry, videos about food, feeding and vocalization, they're all coming, but I've decided to do them as standalone videos rather than incorporate them into this set directly, so they can easily be found as their own topic. So this is what you could have done. You could have, before you flew free, got your hawk to understand and maybe chase and grab and feed off let's say a rabbit carcass, whatever the quarry will be. I'm going to get this guy just doing a little bit of following on work, and then we're going to work on that carcass work prior to hunting. But for sure, and we'll cover it in the topic of vocalization. If you're going to hunt with your harrisawk, which really I kind of hope you are, you need to get that bird responsive to the glove and then just get it hunting. Don't spend ages flying free, kind of like a pet, kind of like this guy's job actually will be, because you'll really encourage your chances of it becoming vocal and dependent on you. But I'm going to do a little bit of following on work. I'll tell you what that is as we go along. And then we'll work on hunting very soon indeed. Henry still weighs 1.6 pounds hooded. This bird has still eaten all it wants to eat pretty much every day, and its weight has maintained. That's because it's so fat that, or so high in condition, that even if we shortchange it by say a third of its food, it doesn't make a lot of difference. It's way above its sort of fat threshold, something I'll talk about in depth in a standalone video. But for now, before I want to throttle him, we're going to do a little bit of work following on. We're going to see how he works, even though he's a little high in weight. So we're in our training field. We're going to take the hood off. Hold on. You have a small batching of food, a little nibble on a bit of a chick thigh there, just to whet his appetite. This really works. Don't just sort of send your bird off. Give it a little tiny batching. It literally does get the juices flowing. His bell's on, his telemetry's on, and away he goes. Look at that. He's still high in weight, behaving like a baby that's really keen. He's not even flown off to the tree. We'll call him up to an empty glove. If he wants to come and follow, he can. And we're not going to feed him for landing on the ground. Don't get into that habit. That's worse than feeding your hawk, calling it back to a fence rail. The bird will just literally launch itself like it's going to chase game, hit the brakes, land on the ground, because it knows you're going to offer it a little bit of grub to come back on the glove. Never feed it anything for jumping up off the ground. So we're going to send him off. Off he goes. So he's up there somewhere. So following on is you go for a nice walk along a tree line, and it's a way of getting your hawk fit. Bit of exercise for it. It learns the wind as well if it's a bit breezy. We're going to walk along. We're going to call him down to some food, but not every time. A little bit of chick leg in there, a little betching like that, but not every time. And sometimes I might give him a bit bigger food towards the end, but sometimes the glove will be empty. And also, I'm not really going to show him. Henry! Sorry, doing two things at once. I'm not even going to show him the food now. He'll come expecting some food, but he won't be disappointed if now and again there isn't any. Henry! I can't use my hand signals. I'm on my own today. We'll say, Henry! See if he lands or not. He's come down, he's looked down. Oh, there's a bit of food. Look at that. He's getting a bit of exercise, and he's not just going back from a tea perch. Also, it helps to really get that recall from the trees in place. So we let him just check there's no food. Now we're going to throw him like a javelin. If we can, we hold both jesses at once, and we send him off. Off he goes again. It's coming already. I've just put the phone out to rebait the glove. He's come down again. Look, there's another bit of food there. So now Henry is following on. He's following me for a walk from tree to tree. I won't give him a bit this time. There he goes. So we can go for a couple of mile walk, can't we now? A mile walk, whatever. Don't push him till he's so full he's not going to budge. Know when to call it in. Reduce the size of the food, the morsels he'll come for, and the further you can go, the more you can feed him. Here he comes again. I'm not calling him even. He's just learning, like a harrisawk does. Stay with a pack. Stay with a hand that feeds you. But what we want to do, of course, is turn this in to stay with the person, the pack leader, that transports you to where the best hunting grounds are, and your glove provides, just by chance, the best hunting perch, because your glove seems to be always the perch where the action comes from. You transport yourself away from being the feeder to the pack leader, enabling him to feed himself. That way he becomes independent and doesn't see you as his source of food. And if you do that quick enough, he won't need to call for food ever, because you just take him to let him hunt. Hold on. Any bogies up there? A bit more food. This stage I'm feeding him way more often than I'm not feeding him. Henry! Still not using hand signals because you're here. There he goes. I'm going to tell you a secret. It's been, you saw him fly free, and it's been much windier than that every day since, for about 4 days. So I switched to flying him indoors to his indoor perch, which is what I have to fly in that setting as in classrooms and school halls. That's his job, half his job. So I've done some indoor work. It's been a bit rubbish because my giant tortoises are overwintering in the room that I train him in indoors. And it's like, what the heck are these things? It's been very distracted. Again, because his weight's high. But you know what? I've only flown him free. Honestly, that one time you saw him free. Today, there's no wind at all. And I thought, I asked Emily to shortchange him on food. His weight's still the same. And I thought, heck, we'll see what happens. So, here we go. And you can see this guy. Someone said to me on social media, but Dave, I don't understand how you're training a bird without sort of decent weight reduction to get it hungry. Well, he is hungry, isn't he? Because he's not fed since yesterday. He's just flown in high condition. We're flying on appetite, but no form of starvation whatsoever. Flying on appetite alone. Not all birds are like that. Some you will have to trim down at every stage in training to get it confident to come to the glove. But once it's confident, put its weight back up until it just goes off the boil again. The weight it first does anything, like chases a carcass for a rabbit, might be much lower than it ever needs to be again. You just have to give it an increased appetite to focus its mind. Think, I'm a bit nervous. I don't care, I need that food, I'm going to do it. That doesn't mean that's its flying weight. It means it was its flying weight to get it to understand that task and focus its mind. Go. It doesn't have to be static. You should be flying your birds as fat as possible, as long as you're still getting the response you need, whether that's an instant recall to the glove or them committing to game. So I'll give you a different analogy here, a comparison. I find with parrot-reared goshawks, their weight has to be lower for them to return responsibility to the glove than it does for them to actively hunt and catch game confidently. I find with Harris hawks, they'll return to the glove once conditioned well, at really high silly weights, that they won't commit to game at all. I'm not going to have a rough and tumble with a rabbit. I'm not that hungry. But yet it'll come to you for free betching. So psychology of Harris hawks and goshawks, usually very different things indeed. Let me get him another bit of food. It's a good job something went wrong in the last video, because I actually said to the colleagues here, and Mike, my friend, and Kyle, I'm worried it looks like I've trained a Harris hawk and I'm just pretending to train it again. But you are seeing it real life. So he's got bored now. That's a rubbish tree to land in. Henry! Let's just go back the other way. Nice and easy today. There's no wind at all to carry him anywhere. He's got to go into his own steam. Henry! Henry! Again, I'm not using hand signals purely because the hand's got the phone in it and you're here with me. So following on, the bird's following you on as you walk along the countryside. Don't walk a big open field. Walk along a tree line. Gives the bird something to swing down to the glove, fly ahead, swing up to a tree, and then you get ahead, it comes down to a recall. But something else you can do, as you've kind of seen, once it's confident, wait until it's confident in the glove and it's coming as seen, hold the glove up with no food, and then as the bird comes in, this isn't going to work, hide the glove down, and the bird, it did work. The bird will fly on by because the perch disappeared. And now it's ahead of you along the tree line. Recall it to some food next time. When you're hunting through woodland, being able to wave your bird over to get ahead where you think the next flush is going to be will encourage it to come along. As your hand goes down, it's got impetus, it'll naturally leapfrog. Henry! leapfrog past you and take stand in a tree ahead of the action. If you only ever wave big lumps of food for your bird, it's really hard to do that because it will see there's no food there. It won't budge. Or if you try and put your hand down with a big bit of food, it's going to nail your hand or your glove behind your back. So remember, he's only done this once. I might have broke his confidence a little bit showing you that too early. Henry! Here he comes. He's always a good boy. Here he comes. There is a bit of food there. It was worth it. So I hope this is making sense. Just before we end the video, you're walking along a tree line, it helps. You're pushing the bird off, casting him off. If he lands on the ground, just walk off. If you have to put your glove up, let him land. Do not feed that bird from the ground. It will do that forever. It will just flop down and think it's getting fed for flying a metre. It doesn't want to fly. Birds of prey do not want to fly. No food there. It wants to be eating the biggest bit of food it can ever get with the least amount of calories put into it, and then have as long as possible not flying until it's hungry again. It doesn't want to fly in the wind and fly to the trees. You've got to condition it to do so. Do not feed it from the ground. So you're going to go along, you're going to push him off. You're going to walk on by, then you're going to call him down for a bit of food, but not always a bit of food. You're going to call him down sometimes and then put the glove behind your back or down by your side. He's going to think, what's going on? And he'll just naturally fly on by. Take stand further ahead. You're leapfrogging each other through the countryside. That is following on, and that's a way. Maybe do that for a few days to get your bird fit and used to the breeze and the wind. But hunting needs to come very soon indeed. Guys, like and subscribe. Hope you're enjoying the set. We're going to cover it all. Bear with. I'll see you soon. Henry! I didn't even call him then. If he didn't make a sound, he'd be the perfect Harris hawk. But he does, and he's not. We'll talk about that again. See you later.